we will be looking at the medium of communication. The medium of communication. And here we will be looking at verbal and oral. Then we also have nonverbal or written. So these are the medium of communication. Now, verbal or oral, talking about speech in communication, which is obvious. The two are what we'll be looking at. Written has to do with the application letters, CVs, rejoinder, memo, circulars, minutes of a meeting, name them. We'll be looking at that later, but we'll be concentrating on the non-verbal communication and see what we mean by that. Now, non-verbal communication is very important in communication. There are times when people communicate without speech. That is what we mean by non-verbal communication. He's talking to you, but he's not using the word. He's not opening his mouth, but you know that he's talking. Whether he's using an object, he's using space, and the rest. Let's look at these things. Medium of communication. We are talking about non-verbal communication. The first one has to do with prosemics. The use of space, the use of location, in fact, the use of an environment, to send a message. The location you find yourself will do the communication for you. The environment you are, the space, sends the message. So if someone is in church, another is in the mosque, or being to a police station, airport, stadium, airport, stadium, all these places that one will find himself or herself sends a message. If someone is in church, you don't need to ask him now who here sorry about basketball. So the church sends a message. Obinsu a mosque, Obinsu a police station, Obinsu a hospital. You've called a friend and he said he's at Babaya Sports Stadium, and you're asking him now, yeah, then. Some people ask questions, provoking questions. The worst ones are those who how do you call it? When they are playing football match and they'll come very late. That's their culture. Or maybe late. And when he comes, he's come to ask questions as if he's an interviewer. Or yeah, interview. And who they play? They say, Chelsea and Arsenal. Now, who wear red? Then you say, it's Arsenal. Who is putting on blue? Chelsea. What will the scores? They say, 0-0. So they never score. It be me we have a good score, they go give them. What sort of question is that? You are seeing the scoreboard, 0-0, you are asking, so they never score. It be me we have a good score, give them. The question is that, stadium. If you are in the university and you are in the TV room, it sends a message. The TV room sends a message that you are either seeing a movie, or you are seeing a football match, or you are having a conversation. JCRC. You are communicating. You are having fun. Obisu nam Labadi Beach. You call your friend and he's at Labadi Beach. Will you ask him that? Yeah, then what? Labadi is for what? So the location the person finds himself or herself sends a message, and that is what we mean by prosemics. The use of place. My bet. She said, I'm for Nam Kroma, I'm in football, or Hanso, League near South Africa. He knows everything about the league in South Africa. He knows all the teams from Division 1 to the league itself. So all the time he's at my bet. When he's there, you know, either he's seeing a football match or chabet. So my bet, the location the person finds himself or herself, sends a message. That is what we mean by proxemics, the use of space to communicate. That is what we mean by proxemics. And mind you, proxemics comes from the word proximity. Where proximity means nearness or closeness. So, proximity means nearness or closeness. So, your nearness or closeness to the place, the location, or the environment sends the message. Or you find yourself in the environment, sends the message. The next thing, under non-verbal communication, or the next example of non-verbal communication is chronemics, the use of time to communicate. Chronemics is talking about the use of time to communicate. It's so wonderful that 12 a.m. your friend will call you. Hello, me mobile money. And 12 o'clock, 12 a.m. Day. So that 12 o'clock sends message. And it will interest you to note that in bed and on bed are different. You call a friend and said he's in bed. If you are in bed, you are sleeping. How can you be talking and sleeping at the same time? Or sleeping and talking at the same time? When you are on bed, it means that you are not sleeping. You are either seated on the bed, sending a message on WhatsApp, writing something, or even making a phone call. So if you are on bed, you are not sleeping. You are doing some other activity while you are on your bed. In bed, you are sleeping. So, take note when you are using each of these phrases in your communication. Chronemics, we are talking about time to communicate. The use of time to communicate. Just imagine on Fridays, what do Muslims do on Friday? Friday, even though, yes, it's day, the time, when it's time for them to go to the mosque, they don't, they know, you see, we call him the muezzin. The one who sounds the alarm. Allah. So you see that all the Muslims know the time. It's just a remembrance from the muezzin who goes to the mosque, and in the minaret, he just sounds the alarm to all of them to note that it's time for them to go to the mosque. So every Muslim who prays 5 times a day or so, they know that when is this time is for prayers. When is that time is for prayers. Every Muslim knows this. Every Muslim knows this. So the time sends them the message, say, we are going to pray. The use of time to communicate. So, time communicates. In football, 90 minutes. We all know when it's 90 minutes, they end proceedings. Once the referee whistles, he checks his watch. Both coaches of both teams also check their watch. Every second they look at it. What are they doing? The time is communicating to them. When it's 45 minutes, it sends a message to them that it's first half. The players must go for a break. They must go and rest. So the time sends a message. We call it chronemics. Now, there is something that we must note here. Sometimes time and date are synonymous. For example, in 1916, Clifford wrote a constitution. In 1916, Clifford wrote a constitution. In 1925, it was Georgesburg. 1946, Sir Alan Barnes, and the rest. 1951, Sir Noble Adenkirk. Now, we are not interested in these people and what they did. The point is that this particular thing, in WASSCE, West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, they will give students comprehension in English. and they will underline some expressions and ask students to give the grammatical name and grammatical function of those underlined expressions. Now, assuming that this has been underlined for a student, senior high school student, to tell the grammatical name, what is the grammatical name of this underlined expression? This is a phrase, and specifically it is called an adverbial phrase of time. So you see that even though it is date, 1916, a date, you cannot say that adverbial phrase of date. You say adverbial phrase of time. So anytime you hear 1916, you know that 1916 is talking about Clifford's Constitution. If it is about something you did in 1916, you know it. All our dates of birth sends us a message. It sends your parents a message. So why do people celebrate their birth? It reminds them of the day they were born. So the date, your date of birth, is also a time. Sometimes we can see dates as time. Remember 83. What happened in Ghana? So when you hear 83, which is the date, it sends a message. So we see dates as time. What about June 4? And please, you can say June 4th. It's June 4. Anytime the month comes first, when the month precedes the date will lose this thing. The date will be cardinal, it will not be ordinal. But when the date comes before the June, then 4th June. So we don't say June 4th, like a number of us says. So June 4. When is June 4? Every Ghanaian knows what happens in Ghana. May 1, not May 1st. So May 1 is a holiday in Ghana or so. So the point is that the date sends a message. Our independence, 1957, is a date. It sends us a message. Nobody will ask, a Ghanaian, a true Ghanaian, knows that 1957 is the day Ghana gained independence from the whites. So the date sends a message. So even though it's a date, we could see it as time. I'm sorry, but if you're a lady out there, could you remember the day you were deflowered? Some of you will write the date and even the time in your diary. So when you take your diary, you wrote 5th June, 3 o'clock. This 3 o'clock, any time it is 3 o'clock, this lady knows what happened to her. The date sends a message to her. She was deflowered on this day. Excuse me, she lost her virginity on this day. It's in a diary. There are people that whatever event happens to them, they write it in their diary. And that is why we have autobiography and biography and the rest. So that it gives them account of their lives and the specific dates and times that these things took place. So Chronemics is talking about the use of time to communicate. So you see, nonverbal communication, you don't speak, but the use of space, the use of time, sends the message. We can now move on to Oculesics. And you see, Oculesics come from the word eye. So eye contact. To communicate. Great people out there. Can you crack a joke in front of a politician who just lost an election? Clean the drunk, I go die, Godons, and the rest, AY. The question is, can you crack a joke in front of a politician that just lost an election? The look in the eyes alone sends a message, frustration. He's lugubrious, he's sad. And you want to crack a joke in front of this man? Imagine the Bible. When the ladies of it, the women of Israel were singing the song, the praises on David. David killed 10,000 and Saul 1,000. Before he would throw the arrow at Saul, before he would throw the arrow, you and I were not there, but we can tell the look in the face of Saul. Sir, he's not spoken, but the eye tells you that the guy is jealous. He's envious of David. The eye tells you. It sends a message. Eye contact. There are some people you see. If you are not careful, you'll be looking at them from morning till evening. There are some ladies who pass by you and you feel like, so HIV is cry, you don't care. Juliet Ibrahim, the vavavoom, the vivacity, she's paracretodinious. And you see this lady passing by, Juliet Ibrahim, what would you do? You'll be looking at her, just like that. Even if you have a visa, you're traveling outside, you still want to escape the visa. Hold on, I've seen something better. So you see, the look tells people around, Akwai or Pegay. Akwai, just he has affection. And one interesting thing is that in the West, America, for example, if a policeman, you're talking to a policeman who has stopped you on the way, and you are looking into his eyes, it tells him that you are honest. So the look into the policeman's eye in the US or some some countries in the West tells the policeman that you are honest, you are speaking the truth. In Africa, for example, you are talking to your grandmother and you are looking to her face. Hey, they said they are closer to ambush you. So you see that you've not said anything, you've not insulted your grandmom, but the fact that you are looking to her face sends her the message of disrespect. Umbushi. The eye contact. There are some looks ladies will give you, even if you fall in Labadi Beach, the sea, and come up, is the best choice. They look at you some way. And then you add to it, offer. I remember Lukaku missing a chance. And the way, Jose Mourinho looked at him. Players are very intelligent. When they waste a chance, then they begin to look at the bench to see the look on the coach's face or what the coach will do. They begin to look at the coach. They look at him slightly, and the look on Mourinho's face tells you that Nibu full. Oculesics, eye contact. And if you are winking your eye, it sends a message. Affection, love, whatever. So the winking of the eye sends a message. So Oculesics has to do with eye contact for communication. The next thing we'll talk about will be haptics, which in some books is called tactility. Tactility. We are talking about touch. The use of touch in communication. We can still imagine Saul's story, Saul and David. When the women of Israel were singing, Saul killed thousands, David killed 10,000. The look on Saul's face, we said, is Oculesics. Then what did he do? Later in the story, he went and took an arrow. So the touch of the arrow sent a signal to David that I must flee for my life. Saul has not spoken, but he moved and he touched the arrow. And what did he do? He was coming to throw. So the touch of the arrow tells David that I'm in danger and I must run. It sends a message. There are some hospitals you visit. You feel like you always be sick because the touch of some nurses and doctors raises up everything in you. Just imagine that you have a problem with your boss as a guy, as a man, and there is this nurse who will attend to you. And per their profession, situations like this, one nurse will not perform the job. If it's a doctor to attending to a lady in this particular region we are talking about, he or she will do it in the presence of another nurse or doctor for security reasons. Because if it touches something, that raises up the evil in you. Whatever happens next is anybody's guess. So, because of that, he or she must do this in the presence of another nurse or doctor. The touch, soothing. Meanwhile, we have some touches too that hello. There are people in Ghana who buy credit card and they just do this. This is my credit card. The palms, the colors in the palms alone. Imagine this hand slapping you. Only Jesus Christ can be your Lord and personal Savior. The touch sends a message. Hey, the touch. Does he work with his palms? So you see that question comes to mind because of the palm. You have a handshake with someone and you feel like he's peeling your palms for you. What? And haptics do happen in football a lot. You know, footballers on the pitch normally don't speak. They use a lot of non-verbal communication, and haptics is one of them. Even in the Oculesics, a player can wink at the fellow and he sends a message. Haptics. I remember Buffon, former Juventus goalkeeper. There was this guy in Chelsea some time ago who was very instrumental. He scored Oscar, a Brazilian, a young guy who is now in China. This guy scored 2 goals against one of the best goalkeepers in the world as of that time. And the goalkeeper touched him. He gave him a handshake. That handshake, he has not spoken, but the handshake sends a message of what? My brother, well done. You've done well. Sometimes it's a touch on your back. Your player can tap you on your back, or sometimes your occiput. They'll touch your occiput. He's not hitting you. That occiput, the touch of your occiput tells you that you have done well. The guy who touches your occiput says you've done well. Sometimes it could be your back. And it tells you that you have done well. It happens in football. That is why in every football match you see today, players must come and have a handshake. And the handshake means it is friendly. Even though it's a game, what should win at the end of the day? We are just coming to have fun. And so everyone should be free with one another. There shouldn't be any loggerheads between individual players on the pitch or the team as a whole. So all of them have a handshake. And the handshake tells you that, oh, we are coming to have fun. Mania. And that is what that handshake means. So the touch of the palms sends the message of what? Friendliness sends the message of love for one another. I remember recently, 2018 or 17, Fernando Torres was injured. He fell. He had his head hitting the ground. And the opponent players ran to him to save him. In fact, the captain of the team, Gabi, ran to Fernando Torres' side and touched he opened the mouth of Fernando Torres. The touch alone tells you that he's saving a life. So touch sends a message. There is this story about relationship. Some people believe that when you are talking to a lady and you are looking to the eyes straight, it sends the message that you are telling the truth. 2, you are faithful. 3, you are loving. And so that eye contact is Oculesics. Others also believe that no, it is not only the eyes that will do the magic for you, it is the touch. So many people believe that when you are talking to a lady, touch her. And the touch tells you, this guy is romantic. This guy is lovely. Haptics. We can also think about kinesics. And kinesics has to do with movement. Or if you like, mobility. In economics, we call something mobility of labor, which has to do with the movement of a labor from one place to another, for job or for whatever reasons. So we have geographical mobility of labor, which has to do with the movement of a labor from one place to another. Kaneno not Accra. Today he's in Takrady. Some time ago he was at Kumasi. Today he's in Accra. He's in Cape Coast. He's in Elmina. So geographical mobility of labor, movement of a labor from one place to another for settlement. Then we have occupational mobility of labor, which also deals with the movement of a labor from one profession to another. So if yesterday you were a banker, today you are a teacher. He was a lawyer. Today he's an accountant. From one profession to another. We have many people who were teachers and today they are playing football. We have people who were footballers, today they are teaching. One profession to another. We are not concerned with the profession, occupational. We are interested in the geographical mobility of labor. And that we will be looking at the kinesics. In science, we can think of kinetic energy, which has to do with movement. So movement even sends a message. Now, even our walking sends a message. Obi nanti, I was I go here cratching, go school. Obi so home baby are now the nanti team, sir. Who nanti and I said. So you're walking sends a message to people. I go with your guys, you're nanti. You're walking alone sends a message to people. And it happens in football. Recently, there was this encounter between Manchester City and Chelsea. Under 20 minutes, Mauricio Sarri and his people, they took 3 goals. Second half, the Chelsea fans were leaving the stadium. 3 goals is a defeat, it's an annihilation. They've pulverized the team. We cannot come back. So let's go. So the fans were moving from the stadium. The movement of the fans from the stadium sends a message of what? Defeat, frustration. Coach no nyadie, players no omo nyadie. You can interpret it in many forms, in many ways. Kinesics, the movement sends a message. The movement sends a message. And could you imagine this current Coca-Cola advert? There was this Afro guy who was sleeping. They just opened the Coca-Cola bottle, and before he realized, he just woke up all of a sudden. Then he took a sip. Then, pum chuku pum chuku pum chuku. He was shaking the body. The body he's shaking tells you of what? Energy. He's energized. Or if you like, ecstasy, happiness. So the message Coca-Cola is trying to send is that when you take Coca-Cola, you are energized. You aggrandize your energy. You'll be happy. And in a split second, they send a video of the guys pum chuku, and everybody will take the Coca-Cola, will do the same thing. That tells you that anybody who consumes Coca-Cola has energy and ecstasy. So you see, the movement of the body sends a message, even though they've not spoken in the, how do you call it, the advert. And Andre Pello also has an advert. When you are watching, you are seeing a football match, Super Sports. He took, how do you call it? A guy was moving to him. And when the guy came, he was giving the guy Henneken. And when the guy saw that he scored them, the look on the face, we will say it is Oculesics. But the guy was moving away. And the movement of the guy away from Andre Pello tells you that he's frustrated because they've scored him. So even though he has not spoken, his movement sends the message of frustration. And it is not worthy that in the West, in the US, for example, when the policeman stops you, a driver, a policeman stops you, and he doesn't ask you, he doesn't command you to come out, and you come out, he sends him a message that you have come to fight him. Either you have a gun on you or you want to shoot. So he will also be alert. He will be prepared to face you. When you come to Africa, hey, my friend, park well, park well. Or park well, yeah, the policeman is going to be asking, Namasa, Abai now say, what be the WhatsApp? So you see, in the West, you don't come out from your car when the policeman has not commanded you to do so. When you come here, we do it out of our whims and caprices. He's going to fight with the policeman. Let's respect our policemen. They are doing a great job. Some of them go to the extent of passing derogatory statements at the policeman. Hello? It's not the best. Let's support them in the course of doing their job. So you see, the movement from your car to meet the policeman in the West, like America, your movement, when he has not commanded you, he sends the message to the policeman. He sends a signal to the policeman that you want to fight him. So he's prepared for you. That is the interpretation. Alright, so that is about movement. Your mother sends you, your elder sister, your elder brother has sent you on errands. He says something you don't like. Minko. Once you do this, you are shrugging your shoulders. It shows disrespect. It shows disapproval. There are many interpretations you can give to the shrugging of your what? Your shoulders. You shrug your shoulders. A movement. And there are many coaches who use many movements on the pitch, like Diego Simeone. Coach, the way he's desperate. All sort of signs. The movement of the hands from to and fro sends a message that the man is desperate. One of the coaches, Pep Guardiola, fears is Diego Simeone. So, we are talking about kinesics, movement, and even Muslims. On Friday, you will see a pullulating mass of them moving to the mosque. Meeting them moving to the mosque, you don't need to ask questions. The movement to the mosque in that number tells you that it's time for prayers. They are going to seek the face of their Lord, Allah. So the movement sends a message. They are going to pray. And we call that what? Kinesics. Let us also look at Objectics. And it has to do with the use of objects to communicate. The very simple one I'll talk about is the use of banana. I respect Sule Muntari so well. And I'll continue to respect that guy. He's a gentleman for me. In a football match, he was a participant. The Italians were chanting racism. I don't understand why some human beings think they are humans and others are not. And you know, they were throwing banana at Sule Muntari, and Sule Muntari was crying that he had to leave the pitch. I respect his decision. And later, even FIFA respected his decision. Why would I be praying? All of us are playing football match, and you are calling me a black man, so how do you call it? I'm a monkey, so I just come for banana. So the use of banana, even though the white men, normally the Russians do that, and the Italians, they show banana at you, they show it at you. It tells you that this object tells you, we agree, Baji. It sends a message. Frank Cassie in AC Milan, they did the same thing to him. Even Raheem Sterling in England and Hudson-Odoi in Chelsea also suffered the same fate. Bakayoko and Koulibaly and all of them were given banana. They were chanting at them. And so the use of banana is an object to send the message of what? Racism. The use of banana. We have what we call Mary Kay. They are ladies who can paint their faces, and you wonder if they did visual art in school. General at for no. Just about painting a name from cockroach to perpetuity. The Mary Kay, the object, tells you fashion. Yemreni will be a painting and painting. So the object Mary Kay tells you of fashion. If you see a Muslim lady with a hijab, or you see a lady with a hijab, the hijab tells you that what? She is a Muslim. You don't need to ask her. The hijab tells you. And it happens in football match a lot. The captain's armband. Asamoah Gyan, Fernando Torres. Now he's in Shagantosu. He's the captain. Ronaldo and Messi and who they have the captain's armband. It tells you that he's the leader on the pitch. Even though he's not said anything, nobody told you that he is the captain. But once you see the captain's armband, it tells you that he's the leader on the pitch. So on the pitch, the coach is on the pitch. But on the field of play, the leader is the captain. And he has the captain's armband to denote that he is the leader. So he takes charge of responsibilities on the field. He tells them what to do. They have respect for him. He has some sort of control over them. They have respect for him, the rest of the players. Sometimes it is a black armband that both teams will put, whether they are left or right. It tells you that there is bereaved. Somebody has died. At other times, you will see a red object on their dress. It tells you that they are remembering someone or something. All these are objects that communicate.